This is from Minneapolis, and this is live, and it has about 2,000 people. They're trying to address the problem, the police problem, the civic problem of abuse in the police to citizens and so forth. I think there's a lot of things involved, not only with the council and with the mayor, but with the police, but with individuals who are saying this system is not working very effectively. And the great thing about this is you're seeing this is powered by Zoom, and you're seeing that they're getting and spending hours on Zoom in the evenings, talking with people in the city council and with other people, saying, what can we do to change the system, to make it better, to make it more effective, to make it more of a conducive situation to not only the citizens and the police, but as far as a system that will move ahead and work well with situations that come up. I think the great challenge here is that not only do people need to be healed from the desire to destroy and riot and tear up things, but they need to be civically responsible to get involved and say, really, what has worked, what is working in other countries and other situations, and we really need to say, how can we move towards that direction? Because I believe there are answers out there, but we're not addressing them very well in the judicial system, and especially in the penal system, and especially in the administrative system with police. I wouldn't want to be a policeman, but I don't think the system is going to work very well when you have to bring in National Guard and police to solve the problem. There's a problem with this civilians and the civic people, the people, when they start tearing and rooting up things. That is just wrong. We're going to turn this on and listen to a little what he had to say. I heard a little bit about the previous gal, and she said there is a lot of healing that's going to have to take place. But we're also going to have to learn to work together on solving these social problems without the brutality and abuse of police and military.
For however long the slave could survive, and all with total impunity. My great-grandfather was born into slavery. My grandfather was a sharecropper. My dad was a tractor builder. I can say firsthand that I can still feel that trauma in my bones, and that this is something that we experience throughout the entire community. And this is also reflected in the Native community, having experienced genocide and their land stolen. This is where our trauma and rage comes from, because we have seen similar behaviors by law enforcement with total immunity from any sort of accountability, as Council Member Allison spoke to. We cannot just stop police brutality with reform efforts when brutality is what the very institution of policing is founded on. So to get to your question.
Again, this is from a Black perspective, I believe, and I understand where he's coming from, also a Native perspective. But without civility, without stopping the riots, why can't we not discuss and work on things without ripping up, burning, or looting, or killing either police people or harming other individuals in a riot? We have to get to a point where we say enough is enough. Let's fix these things, but without the violence, without the destruction, without the burning, without the damages. We need a more healing, peaceful way to solve things that really is effective and that the community is part of, and we're not just physically abused or threatened by police or by uh, military to solve things. We're going to go on here. I'm not going to do much of this, but dismantle the police. City Council pledges to dismantle the police.
To understand in certain communities is that the history of policing in America is unlike the history of policing in anywhere else in the world. That's not to say everywhere else in the world the police are are perfect, but just to say that our history of policing is, and the role that law enforcement has played in so many communities has been, it has been encouraging, what we would consider a morality, not just protecting it. And so I really want to remind people that when we're thinking about a reimagination of public safety, we're not, what we're saying is that there is the ability to imagine a different future with systems that don't have to reflect what our history has always reflected. So thank you so much for that.
We're going to end this. I think the discussion is much deeper and broader. I think the media has pushed this way too much, but we have to have civility. We have to have law-abiding people to do these things. And we have to have a way to work together. But the fact that they're bringing these discussions by Zoom, they're bringing these discussions in by day and by night, who's in the discussions and how is this going to affect their counsel? How is this going to affect the future? There's been a lot of pressure put on the president and his cabinet to make some reform in the police area. And I think that's not going away anytime soon with this. We shouldn't just have police officers kill or abuse people for whatever reason, whatever race, whatever reason. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be a policeman. I can understand psychologically why they feel threatened and why they attack, but or defend themselves. But I don't think this brutality on both sides is going to be the solution. We're going to have to moderate and do things differently in a physical and emotional way that disarms crowds and disbands them and gets to some type of negotiation and community activity that's in a non-violent way to move forward. And if it's not, we're in trouble. You can already see that 2,000 people, or 2/10 of 1,000, 200 people have dropped off this. I think this is probably way too liberal for most conservative people, and they're going to drop off it. I am going to drop off it. The fact that we're using Zoom to meet and talk day and night on this subject shows us that the internet, the software tools, and things that we're doing now is going to be different from here on out and in the future to address and solve problems. People are going to have to get involved physically, socially, politically, and financially, and support causes that are going to be proven to be more peaceful and more collective and more versatile, and not just be so blunt and abusive, both from a civilian standpoint, a political standpoint, and an emotional standpoint. There's too much that's going on here. And what happens if you disband or break up the police? Who's going to stop riots from coming in and stopping stuff? You're going to bring in the National Guard every time that happens if you don't have police? And then you're going to start attacking the military? We have to think about consequences of our choices and where we're going to go without a police department if you don't have one, or if you dismantle it. What's going to take their place? Who's going to be a first responder if the police are gone? And civil disobedience. You got to think about that too. Again, it's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana.